We back in this. You already know what it
Hell,
is.
hello.
What's going
It's
on?
us again.
Oh, it's us. Back and better than ever. That is for sure. Welcome back. It's a
Ah.
brand new week. Very happy to be here as always. Matt's repping the Buffalo Trace sweatshirt. He's mentioned it a few times now, so he seems pretty proud of it.
I had to wear it just for the podcast. I've only worn it like twice, but it's so comfy and so nice.
It
And
looks
it's
comfortable.
actually it's kind of cold here in Atlanta. It's like
Hot Atlanta.
50 degrees.
50 degrees is
Uh,
cold?
it's cold, even though it was 77 on Sunday.
You really are a southern boy. That just hurts me. Growing up in Chicago, the fact that you think 50 degrees is cold now is just pain. It's 34 degrees today here, and that's relatively warm. It's
It's
supposed to
not
be.
that 50 degrees is not cold. I just am very excited for it to be nice and warm here year round.
Saturday for the St. Patrick's Day festivities around Chicago. It's going to be a high of 25 degrees.
That's a really good point.
And
I
then
should look at
Sunday's
what the weather
51.
is.
So just welcome to Chicago because that's fun Midwestern weather.
We're gonna see what it is here. It's raining a lot. I can tell you that.
Yeah, the good news is we don't have a lot of rain in the forecast. It's just the temperatures are really fluctuating quite a bit. But I mean, that's this time of year.
Whoa, people around here are gonna freak out. It's supposed to be 38 on Saturday. That is cold for here. Very cold.
Are you
Not
guys,
sure if they own coats.
are
I
you
don't
going to
know.
be okay?
Friday, it's 66. I will take that.
I don't think you're going to be okay. The entire city is going to have a problem. It's going to shut down.
Actually, not kidding. They do shut down if there's like an inch of snow. So,
Well, you
but
know,
hey, I work from home.
some cities just aren't set up for it. So that just kind of is what it is. Um,
They don't.
I'm actually kind of interested that you brought up your sweatshirt being super comfortable because I just actually ordered a new sweatshirt that I'm really excited for, and I'll report back next week on if it's actually really comfortable. It's a brand called Sportique, and I've heard a lot of really good things about it, with it being like super comfortable. So I got a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, and we're gonna test that theory because my problem is I wear just like blank sweatshirts like this and just like a t-shirt all day every day,
Hmm.
and my
You
t-shirts,
can for work. That's
yeah,
nice.
it's awesome. My problem though is that my washer and dryer, that thing right there, is the bane of my goddamn existence. It destroys my t-shirts, so I'm now
Oh,
in that cycle of now I need more t-shirts. So I'm just kind of experimenting on what I'm gonna like, and we'll report back. We'll see how these
you
fit.
should report back because I've been thinking lately how I kind of want to upgrade a little bit of style.
Yeah.
So, like, I think just some plain tees would be good to add to the
Mm-hmm.
wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I was thinking about adding some different shorts, just like not necessarily Lulu branded, because I know those are good, but like that style, like the little, not like halfway up the thigh, but like a little above the knee kind of deal. Not like basketball shorts, but like running shorts, maybe.
So you're talking like athletic shorts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are two completely different things.
Yeah, you took us on a very different course here, and I wasn't expecting it. So okay, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and also, I haven't told you this yet, but I've bought more cool. Okay, I bought a lot of cool bourbon in Lexington, but I did not tell you. Yeah, I did. Wait, did I send it to the group? I think I did. The bourbon that I bought this week
I don't know.
for bourbon lovers out here. I bought a Weller Full Proof this week. Okay, you don't know. It's over your head right now, isn't it?
I mean, I know what Weller
You
is,
know,
and
yeah.
I know bourbon well enough to know what you're talking about, but I don't like. Is that like a really nice bottle or what?
So there's a collection of Weller. It's part of Buffalo Trace, but for Weller, they don't. There's only a certain amount of allocated bottles, and they only go out to like liquor stores or like specialty.
Yeah.
So it's a bottle that like retail. I don't know what it'd go for, like between maybe 50 and 100, but right now in the current market, it's like between 250 and 450.
Oh, geez.
And I found it as part of a bundle in a store for I got 3 bottles for 183.
Okay.
So very good. Could resell that for a lot of money. And then I also bought a Weller Antique, which is another part of the collection. So they have like the green label is the one that I've got like at Buffalo Trace at the distillery. So that's the one you can get like anywhere. It's still decently hard to find.
Yeah.
The foolproof is blue, and then I just also bought the red label, which is antique. So shout out to Tim, my brother-in-law, because he invited me to 2 private bourbon groups in Atlanta. Because that's how I've gotten
You're
these
just getting the royal bourbon treatment while you're down there now. I love that for you. Okay, so yeah,
already.
when you sent that, and full disclaimer, you might be appalled by this. I've never even had Weller, so I've never had the
I
experience of tasting it.
So
But
I won't open those 2 bottles that I just mentioned because
yeah,
they're like collector's items, but I have like I stocked up, and it's you can only get 1 bottle every 3 months at the distillery, but I have 3, so we can try it whenever you come visit.
okay. And we were just talking about scheduling a trip for me to come down to
Yep.
Atlanta. So, all right, I'm into that. We'll have to do that. I didn't realize what that actually was that you were sending. I knew I just figured it was another bottle of Weller because I know you're a big Weller guy. But I understand now. So appreciate you enlightening me.
For our bourbon community, we can go on this expedition together because I'm still learning. Pretty neat. What? Hold on, Kevin. Let's
Yeah.
table that. We have other topics to talk about, like actual gaming stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want an update?
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Fix your PC, nerd.
What's the latest?
So I actually just looked
It's
like
a never-ending cycle with you.
45 minutes ago. Well, so like the last week update was like received and they were repairing it. And actually, hold on, I'm gonna read this because I literally just pulled this up.
Yeah.
So I clicked the reference number because I was like, I want more details because I love you, Gigabyte, but your site looks like it's from the 90s. The RMA status says being replaced or replacement is being tested.
Okay, so it was previously said that it was being fixed, right?
It
So
said
it's
it was
changed in the last
received
week.
it said that it was being repaired, but now it looks like either they're just replacing it or they're testing a replacement, which is very interesting because you know what the supply has been like with
Yeah.
those. So you just hope that they prioritize somebody that already bought theirs.
Yeah, you would
I don't
hope.
know.
I would think that their factory has somewhat of a stock lying around for any
Mhm.
replacements like this. Um, Especially if it says the card's being tested, the replacement card is. So, I mean, I guess we'll see what comes of that, but it's good news that there's actual movement there and it's being taken care of. So it sounds like you're getting a new card.
You know what? And in the same breath, let's just mention my battle station upgrades as well.
Yeah.
So for all those that know what the Alex drawers are, those have been received and they've been built.
Shout out IKEA.
S- So shout out IKEA. I really like them. The only thing I kind of regret is that I like this desk, but to be honest, I kind of wish I had like a bigger like an L desk.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those on Amazon? Like
Yeah.
I could get the same thing like I have here, but you could just get it in L. And I was telling you earlier before the pod that like my work sent me a 27-inch monitor for work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking, I was like, if I had an L desk, I have like a printer, I have like all this stuff, and it's sort of just hodgepodge. I could have put the the Alex drawers under the desk with an L desk, and then also put the printer on the L desk and set up the 27-inch monitor with my work laptop, and had 2 separate stations, one for work and one for gaming, which would have been sick.
That is, yeah, honestly, that would be a pretty cool setup.
Right?
I've seen so I have the like actual IKEA setup that you're kind of talking
Oh
about of like the two
you
Alex
do.
drawers with the tabletop counter as the desk, and I love it. But I've actually seen people do the L desk setup with another countertop. Like if you've
Yeah.
got the space, you just push another one
Oh,
all the way in,
yeah.
and you can do the two countertops with the L, and it looks pretty cool. You just have to have the space for it, which I don't have right now. I think eventually, if I have a big enough office, I think it would be cool to have an L setup like that, just to kind of break up the space a little bit. But for now, I mean, I love the setup that I've got. I've got triple monitors, and
I was gonna say I love your setup too. So
yeah, I've got a curved monitor right in front of me, a flat one to my left, and then a vertical one here to my right, and pretty much workflow. I've got like the curved one's my main screen. I've got for work we use Slack, so I've got Slack up on my vertical monitor. Pretty much go between Slack and Discord all day, and then my secondary monitors for just whatever else I need. I pretty much go between the two main ones with Slack up all day.
okay, so how did you do that? This is I feel like we're already getting off topic, but I want to know how you did that because I have my work laptop is running,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's only able to do two screens because I only have an HDM like one HDMI slot. Did you do like a splitter or something?
So you can
Is
get
it through your work laptop or are you running through your PC?
so right I have right now it's on my PC, but I have it set up to where I can set it up through my work laptop. And
Hmm.
actually, hold on, I can show you what I have that allows me to do that. It's in one of these drawers. Uh,
I bought
so,
a splitter and realized that the splitter only allowed me to um it basically didn't extend. Oh, is that a hub?
yeah. So I have this USB hub that plugs in to my laptop, and then I've got two HDMI's and a DisplayPort cable, so I can do triple monitor. And then there's the two additional USBs here, three USBs on the front, and this just goes on the desk, and I can plug my
So
laptop into that.
so you can still extend to all three
Mm-hmm.
screens through that.
With Windows, you can. Mac computers, you can only do, I think, mirrored. So I think technically you can do it with three,
My
but
yeah,
I think like two.
the
I don't
spl-
know exactly how it is. With Windows, you can do all three, and you're fine.
the splitter was only allowing me to mirror the two monitors. So I had both monitors plugged in,
Yeah,
but I couldn't extend the display. So I might have to get one.
yeah. Honestly, laptops are a little bit weird when you get into the multiple monitors because it's like Mac OS doesn't support extending multiple screens unless you have a certain hub. And honestly, the hubs get very expensive for like if you're trying to do one specific thing. It's like you will always end up spending more money than you're expecting to. Uh,
Hmm.
Luckily, work sent this to me, and I didn't have to pay for this hub, but the hub's like $150. So like
Ah,
you have to get that hub in order to actually like set it all up. So you can find it cheaper, but you're just not gonna get.
I
It's just harder.
I wonder if because so what I did as another PC update,
Mm-hmm.
I have been doing a lot of wiring, which you knew from the last update,
Mm-hmm.
but I have two HDMI's, like one HDMI in each monitor, and I've been using those for my work laptop.
Yeah.
So maybe what I also wired though DisplayPort cables because my PC can actually accommodate that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe what I just do is I'll just do the two DisplayPort cables to my actual PC when we get it up and running, and then the HDMI's can run to my laptop, and then I guess I could just change input whenever I want to switch between my PC and my actual work laptop. So I don't have to change anything about the setup.
Yeah.
It's just
You just change your
just
input.
basically just get a hub and change the input.
Yeah, I've done that, and it's really not that hard as long as you've got easy access to your input changes on your monitors. That was one thing that I ran into with like a Dell monitor. The input is on the right side, so like if you have it set up as your left monitor, then you have to go like over the top or underneath. So like that's like the very nuancy thing of setting
Yeah.
all this up. But like my two monitors that I have here both have the input and the power button right in the middle underneath, so it's an easy tap. But like this one
Also,
I have all the way on the right. It's like I have to reach around.
hilariously, I could also probably, just because it's input, I mean, I could be running gaming on one of my monitors, and the other two I could run work if I
Hmm.
wanted to,
Hmm.
or like the other way around.
Yeah,
That's sick. Wait,
you could get a KVM switcher. Where
I don't know what this.
if you run a KVM switch, it's essentially putting
I'm ready to get that.
putting it all into like this one switch, like all of your inputs into the switch, and then that controls what um input you're actually using. So like instead of changing your input on your actual
On
computers,
the monitor.
you use the switch and that changes your input. So you're essentially switching between the devices that you're using while staying on the same input. It's just like opposite. Look it up. It's
I'll look it up
yeah.
when we're done.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Um definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. And all that. But let's get into some headlines here. Honestly, not a ton that's happened in the last week comparative to some of the other weeks that we've had. But one of the things that I wanted to start on today was a bigger one. Was that it's interesting now. FaZe Clan has a new member, and we talked about this a little bit after the Super Bowl. That Snoop Dogg was wearing a FaZe Clan chain, and he is the newest member of FaZe Clan. So FaZe
That's
Snoop is officially a thing.
unbelievable.
Real
Actually,
quick,
kind of not unbelievable.
hold on. I'm gonna interrupt you real quick because we're getting some feedback on your audio. So we're gonna pause right here, and I'm gonna have you reset your mic. All right, we're back. Real quick, just had to have him reset the mic. Super simple. I don't know why that.
Very fast.
Yeah, I don't know why we're getting that feedback. But um, as we were saying, FaZe Snoop is now a thing, and honestly, it's just more of that mainstream media that we've talked about for so long. That's getting back into the gaming world.
It continues to grow. These are okay. This is I've gone on this rant before, but I'm gonna go on it again very quickly because it's changed so much over time. Like I think of like my dad and like the stereotype, and this isn't a shot against my dad or anything, but like I just remember like the stereotype of people that game were nerds, like they lived in their parents' basement, they didn't do anything with their lives, and now it's changing so much. It is in the mainstream. Like you have mainstream celebrities and people that like he has audience he has an audience that goes into uh different generations.
Oh, 100%.
So
Snoop's been around for years.
I mean that's besides just like all the athletes and people that are like constantly are almost professional streamers. Well, there are professional streamers and professional gamers
Yeah.
that are athletes too. But anyway, I continue. It's growing and it makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, we're continuing to see the lines blurred of you're not just a gamer. You can like other things and you're not necessarily just the stereotypical person living in your mom's basement and you don't do anything other than just being a gamer. I mean, look at the two of us.
Also, also the hilarious brand that continues to grow for Snoop because he is just in everything. He's just he just he does it all. I don't know why. Just because he does not care. It's great.
I love it. Him and Shaq is another one that I
Shaq, he's the other
that
yeah.
I think about who does a little bit of everything. And honestly, The Rock is kind of getting into that territory too. Um, but I
Just
mean,
whatever they're interested in.
honestly, like, you have the ability to do whatever you want, especially with the access that the internet gives you now to so many different categories and people, that if you're passionate about something, pursue it, and you never know what's going to happen. Granted, these
Mhm.
guys are starting with an audience that they have put years and years of work into and have built. So it makes moves like this a little bit easier for them, but that doesn't mean
Yeah.
that they're not working their asses off and they're doing all of this cool stuff behind the scenes to make all of this happen. So
A lot of work.
this I'm sure was months and months of work in the making. Um, and if I know anything about just this industry as a whole, uh, FaZe Clan's not done, and I'm fully expecting gaming
No.
organizations to follow suit here. And
Oh, yeah.
personally, I feel like 100 Thieves will probably be the next one to sign some celebrity or big name. But I mean, you even think about the athletes who have signed with gaming organizations, like Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, he started his own gaming organization with Team Divergent, and they've started signing athletes. I mean, that was a year ago now that they started that. Um,
Yeah.
like Kurt Benkurt's a part of Ghost Gaming, and like there's all kinds of athletes who are getting looped into the gaming industry, and it's just uh, there's actually a really great interview from Kurt Benkert, that he's the third string quarterback in Green Bay, and he was quoted in saying in one of his articles that he was like, gamers always kind of just had this stereotype of like they didn't want to put in that hard work and they just sit in the basement and play video games and they're just mindless. And he was
Mhm.
afraid to talk about that, like, his love for video games, because he thought people would judge him and think that it was taking time away from him playing football and he didn't care about football. And he finally just said, you know what, screw it, I'm
Yeah.
going to start streaming. And he picks up the controller, turns the camera on, and he's signed with a gaming organization. He has a following on Twitch that, yeah, I mean, I feel like he probably has viewers that don't even, they may now know, but at the start, they didn't even know he was a football player. And that's just,
Yeah.
it's great to build audiences in different facets of life, and just be able to do that, because it takes a special kind of person and a talented type of person to actually be able to.
And that's the same idea as, like, both of us have full-time jobs too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
100%.
we you know, like, it doesn't take away. Like, I devote my full time, to my job, but also I love doing this, so, you can,
There is,
but
especially now, in a world where the internet speeds things up so fast, that there is time to be made for almost everything. And Matt Jordan is our first comment of the night, saying that he's a mindless basement video gamer. And Matt, I do disagree with you on that, because I know you personally, and you're a multifaceted, multi-talented guy. So um, appreciate you tuning in. But we're gonna kind of change up a little bit. And a company that we really haven't talked about much is Apple. They had their Apple event today. They do this every year. Um, it's always one event that I have an iPhone, but other than that, I don't have any other Apple products that I really use. I had an Apple Watch for a little while. I haven't worn it in forever. I'm a PC guy now myself, but I have always just been very interested in the Apple events that they put on, because the production quality of these events are just insane. Um, and if there's one company that knows how to release a new product, it's Apple. And so I've always
Oh,
loved
yeah.
just turning that stream on while I'm doing anything and just watching it. And a couple, not anything crazy exciting today, but like they announced that the new iPhone this year, or not this year, just the new iPhone news is that there's going to be a green version of the iPhone 13, and not like an actual. They didn't release a new iPhone, just a new color. So it's like, okay, that's not fun.
That's kinda silly.
Like, talked about a new iPad, all like the normal stuff. And then they got into Mac, and they introduced this M1 Ultra chip that
Did you read this?
is insane. granted, this is Mac will never, at least for now, Mac will never be known as a gaming operating system or gaming hardware or anything. But the power that they're packing into these computers is just absolutely insane.
It's gross.
There was
Did you pull up the article?
I don't I don't have an article. I've got a tweet from Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD, one of the massive tech YouTubers, and this is I'm gonna pull this up on screen here, but this is where he said, since I know y'all gonna ask, the maxed out Mac Studio. So the Mac Studio is the new like most powerful computer that they're gonna have. So it's the M1 Ultra chip, 8 terabytes of SSD, and I think this comes with 128 gigabytes of RAM. It's $8,000, which, granted, if you get a maxed out PC that's fully custom and all that, I mean, those are upwards of $8,000 to $10,000 too. So
Oh yeah.
it's, I mean, you can spend a hell of a lot of money on computers. But a lot of people who were watching the stream earlier today that they were putting on probably didn't know exactly what they were talking about with all the technology that they were talking through. But the M1 Ultra chip is essentially like two of the M1. It's not the M1. I think it's like the M1 Max chips. Essentially, just like two of them put
Yeah.
together that act as one. It's like, I'm so excited
It,
for where technology is going.
okay. Hold on. The one thing that stood out to me about it, hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah,
Was it was about the cores. It was like a 20 core
it's a 20 core CPU and I think a 60 core GPU built into it. And that's the thing with Mac computers. They don't do I mean, they've got the integrated graphics within their chip. So it's not built as a gaming computer, and they never have been. They're more,
right.
it's a productivity machine. It's for your creatives. It's a different kind of computer, but you can't deny that the power that's packed into these things is just wildly impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the form factor that they go into. There's no company on the planet who does packaging and just the details that go into a product. There's no company on the planet who does it better than Apple.
Yep.
And that's why they can get away with selling a set of 4 wheels for their Mac Pros for $700. I sent you those before, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever talked. I don't know if we've ever talked about these while we're live. So I'm gonna pull this up and we're just gonna show it. But I saw you pulling your Apple Watch up into the screen. So why don't you?
I wanted to show you an Apple update here. Cracked Apple Watch.
Oh
Very
no!
sad.
I did that exact same thing to my Apple Watch probably like 2 years ago, and it was like
Now my camera can't focus.
it's autofocusing. I can always rely on you for technology issues. There we go. Technical difficulties. Having an autofocus problem. That's all right. You'll figure it out. But I did that probably like 2 years ago, I want to say, in that exact same spot. I think I dropped it. It fell off the counter. Yeah, the story behind that is that it was like I think it was the Apple Watch 4. It was like the first one that you can like really fully wear, fully submerged in water. So I used to shower with it, and it wasn't a big deal. I was like, you know what? It gets clean after I work out. I don't take it off when I shower. And Christy was always like, why are you showering with it? Take it off while you shower. Like, you're a psychopath. I was like, no, it's fine. It can go in the water.
I know where you're going with this.
And the one time I took it off to get in the shower, it fell and I cracked the screen. So I know it's no longer waterproof.
So mine, I also don't really take it off, but I took it off. Same situation. Water.
Yeah.
So it was 77 this Sunday, and we went to Morgan's in-laws pool.
Yeah.
And I took it off, and it was on the table, and Morgan's mother-in-law like just moved a couple things, and it fell off the table onto the stone, and I didn't even notice. Like, she picked it up and put it back on the table, and we looked like I was over at the hot tub, and
Yeah.
Kelsey goes, "Matt, what happened to your watch?" I was like, "Oh, nothing happened. What? Nothing happened to my watch. She goes,
R.I.P.
I was like, what's wrong with it? She goes, it's like cracked, like the screen's cracked. I was like, oh. And then I
Ruh-roh.
felt really bad because like it wasn't really her fault. But like I probably should have put it where it was, but she ended up giving me her she had gotten a 7, which is the new one anyway,
They're already at
and she had a
7.
3, which I had. This is a 3. And she just like gave me her 3 too. So I'm wearing this one, but I need bands for the other one because it's not the same size.
It goes to show how much I've been paying attention to Apple products lately.
I know they're in 7. I know. I was like, I don't, and they're like $500. I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's insane. I've got the Apple Mac Pro wheels kit pulled up, $699 for 4 wheels. It's awesome. There's there's some fun
nice.
YouTube videos on what you can do with these wheels, and they're just all making fun of the price. They're all meme videos. They're great. Yeah, I always like to show people these wheels. It's like these are so Apple, it hurts me. $700, which like
That's
that
great.
the Mac Pro computer. I mean, you can build that thing out fully kitted for like $32,000. They're like
Yeah,
industrial computers. It's insane. Um,
absolute yikes.
but enough about Apple. A little bit more in the tech industry today. A lot of
Hmm.
services went down. And I know personally.
I didn't know this until you mentioned it.
So I got a text from Christy. She's like, "Is Spotify down?" I was like, "Yeah, actually, Spotify is down." Apparently, her sister was trying to study for the LSAT and was like freaking out that she couldn't listen to her music, and she thought it was just
Lo-fi
her.
beats.
I was like, "Oh no, it's actually the entire world." Um,
Oh, Teams apparently went down. I mean, I was
Spotify.
working. It didn't
So
go down for me.
Spotify was down, Discord was down, Wikipedia, Twitter, Amazon Web Services, GasBuddy, Destiny, Facebook, Cloudflare, Microsoft Teams, Google Cloud, and Spectrum, all listed just within this graphic who were affected by this. And yeah, a lot of services went down, which,
I know exactly when that happened because my Spectrum went down. That makes sense.
yep, that'll do it. So a lot of
I was like, why
issues.
did I lose connection?
Yeah, we use Discord a little bit for work, and everybody at work was like, "Is Discord down for anybody else?" Like, yep, literally
Mm.
everyone. So
Mm.
interrupted services a little bit today, and the internet had some fun, got some nice memes out of it. But yeah, it's just usually it's like one server or something that like everybody uses. Like to me, like I think there was an issue with I can't remember what sites it was, but it was like everybody uses one of AWS's services on the back end of their website. And AWS had gone down, so like everything else that uses AWS gets affected. But now seeing
Yeah.
in this graphic that I've got pulled up that AWS and Google Cloud were on this, I was like, well, they're direct competitors. They do the same thing, and people don't use and not everybody's using the exact service. So it's like, where did this actually stem from? So that's just a fun little tech industry thing that I thought was worth mentioning.
So also I want to mention, I just like randomly thought of this. I can't remember what portion you mentioned that made me think of this. But shout out to my brother Christian that also listens to the podcast. But he's made a meme out of me, Kevin.
Why have I not seen this? Christian, send it to me, please.
I have it pulled up, and I think my parents were like talking about. Oh, okay. My mom, yeah, you would enjoy this story. Um, so my mom went on a girls' trip to Naples to go
Yeah.
visit a friend, and it was like all of her like high school girlfriends.
Okay.
And she came back this week, and we had like I talked for those that don't know, I talk to my parents every day. So she was gone, and we couldn't talk to her. So like we hadn't caught up. And if you know my mom at all, she's the sweetest Southern woman in the world, but she also really likes to talk. She likes to talk to her kids. So yesterday,
Mama
I love
lion.
you, mom, but my mom was, we had unintentionally uh, created a lion family conference call. So I was already on the phone with my dad. Then my sister like called my dad to check when mom was coming home. So then there was 3 of us, and then all of a sudden Christian also joined in. So there's 4 of us, and then mom gets in the car from the airport, and I'm not kidding, Kevin, she talked without stopping or maybe even breathing for, like, 5 minutes, and none of us got a word in at all. She was telling us all about her trip.
I love that.
And Christian literally just texts me on the side, and this is all he said.
That's a phenomenal face. I would love to know what that face is actually reacting to.
It was from I know, it was from our last episode, but I don't know what that's from.
There is a
So, yeah.
there was
Oh,
some sort of reaction that brought that face on that I want to know what it
yeah.
was. That is
So
too
for
funny.
those that don't know, you'll have to watch our episode on YouTube
Pull it
instead of listening on the podcast to see what the picture looked like, because that was funny.
pull us up on YouTube. Find us at the Joystick Chronicles, and you'll see what we're talking about. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video because it
Please
really
do,
helps us.
thanks.
We're up to 28 subscribers now, seeing a little bit of growth. We're gonna
Let's
keep it
go,
rolling.
baby!
Road to 100. All right, moving on. CDL. The first major of the year was this past weekend. It was an in-person event down in Dallas. So Optic Texas was hosting it, and it was in their esports arena that they actually, when they merged with Envy, they took over the esports arena down in Dallas, and it's now, I forget what exactly it's called. I think it's like the Dallas Esports Arena or something. But they hosted it there, and Optic and FaZe were in the final. So it was Optic Texas versus Atlanta FaZe, and a little bit of drama coming out of that. And it was all over
Little bit.
Twitter, all over Twitter. But Optic Texas ended up beating FaZe, and the controversy was that in one of the S&D matches, um, the Atlanta FaZe were defusing the bomb, and the crowd was like going wild and calling it out. And so that gave Optic Texas the competitive advantage to actually like, no, like, hey, he's defusing the bomb. Just go over there and you can kill him. And
Wow.
everybody, and to be honest, I don't know how really relevant this was or how often this happened, if ever, in LAN events before the pandemic. But I mean, talk about a home field advantage or home arena advantage that this gives them. And it was to the point where Hex came out on stage and he was like, hey, like, you gotta stop with that. Like, get your reactions and do all that, but like, don't come out here
Now,
and don't do call outs. Like, that's not what we're looking for. We want you here to have a good time. But that's not how we want to win. That's like that's a no-go from us. You're not that guy. And then on top of that, one of the Atlanta FaZes players, Arcides, he was having PC issues in one of the games, so they had to like do a full reset of the round because he was lagging out. And I was like, "Ooh, damn! PC issues in the CDL major is not a good look. They need
yikes.
they need
Was there a sponsor for that?
for the major itself or like
No,
the
I wonder who the
PCs."
who the like the hardware was through.
So I don't know if they have an actual PC hardware sponsor associated with the league. Um, and you know, we've had some good interactions on Twitter with Kerneal, who, if you haven't heard of him, he's like the PC guru, and he's done a lot of optimizations for some of the CDL players and just streamers in general. Like, he works with TP and like Drakota and a bunch of those guys in the CDL. And he's been saying that he's like, you know, I'd love to start a relationship with the CDL and actually like work with them on an official manner and optimize the PCs that are being used. And what an opportunity for him to kind of step in and say, hey, the hardware was affecting the match here. Let's get you guys in a good place and let's not have this happen again. And I'm like, man, you can capitalize on that. Absolutely. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, maybe a little partnership action.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it was
Um,
a culmination of just very weird situations, something that you don't necessarily expect to see in a CDL major. But Optic ended up winning it. It was, you know, the green wall is Optic's fan base, and they are very loyal to Optic, as they always have been. And it was great to see them finally win a major. And they, there's a lot of support, a lot of honestly the big players within the Call of Duty League scene right now. I mean, you think about Nadeshot, who started 100 Thieves. I mean, he got his start with Optic, and
Mm.
like even he was obviously the Thieves weren't participating in the final, so he was out on Twitter and he was supporting Optic because that's where he got his roots, and he's good friends with Hex and all that. Like it's I feel
Yeah.
like CDL is in a good place when Optic's doing well.
I wonder in the like this I don't know. Like how big is Optic compared to like Phase and 100 Thieves? Like in terms of I guess there's two different ways to look at that. Like member size and also uh revenue size. Be
Uh,
curious.
FaZe is technically I think the largest gaming organization. Cloud9 is
Optic is
also
big though, isn't it?
up there. Um, but yeah, Optic is very large, and we'd have to pull that up. That's something that we can talk about next week, and just figure out. And I'd be curious to like what comparison wise it would look like if you're like comparing the CDL organizations and just gaming organizations in general, because there's way more than just the CDL out there, to like sports franchises. And like if we had to like compare size wise of like who would be who, like who's the Yankees and who's
Yeah.
the Bears and all that, like that'd be interesting. Um, so yeah, well, that'll be a topic for future weeks, and we'll talk about that as the next major starts to come up here on us. But just wanted to touch on that.
Very quick note on a sports note that we haven't talked about yet. How about your Illini?
Yeah, pretty happy.
How do you, how do we feel about it?
Big Ten champs, huge.
So how did I didn't even know how that happened. Like, I didn't even know you guys. What you didn't play the tournament yet? Is that regular season?
Yeah, it's regular season. So regular
I
season.
thought you guys were out of contention
So
for the regular
I
season
thought we were
championship.
too, but this fell into our lap. And Christian, I'm gonna get to you in a second. Samurai, by the way. Um, it was Saturday morning. When was it? Saturday or Sunday? What day is today? It was Sunday. Nebraska was playing Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a game ahead of us, and Wisconsin hosted Nebraska. Nebraska is terrible. I think that they won one Big Ten game this year, and they ended up losing to Nebraska by 2 points, I think, and opened the door for us to tie them in first place. And nobody was expecting this to actually happen because Wisconsin's a great team playing at home on senior night, and they have a terrible opponent in the building who I don't think has won a Big Ten game this year before that. And they choke, open the door for us to sneak in. We're down at one point. So we're playing Iowa at home that evening, last game of the Big Ten regular season. And we're down, I think, 13 at one point, and we storm back. We end up winning by 2. Yeah, 2 points was the final. Iowa missed the last game-winning 3, and we end up being Big Ten regular season co-champions. I think it's kind of dumb how
With
conferences will do
who?
that. They'll have co-champions, but we ended up being co-champions with Wisconsin. So,
Oh my god.
instead of them
Uh,
just beating Nebraska and securing that sole championship, they open the door and we sneak in there, co-champions. And it's something that if you were to go in the tiebreakers, I think technically we have the tiebreaker against them because now Illinois is the
mhm.
number 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, which starts on
Okay.
I think Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday, I think technically is the first game. Um, so if you do it where there's only one winner, I think technically it's Illinois because we hold the tiebreaker. But the college basketball conferences will just do co-champions, which I always thought is kind of weird. But 2 schools get to hang a banner. But regardless,
Very much excite for March Madness, and
oh yeah,
yeah, that's wild. You guys won the Big Ten. Vols are 2 seed in the SEC tournament. one under Auburn. I didn't even tell you. I was at the Tennessee Arkansas game last weekend. Did I tell you that?
You didn't tell me, but I saw it on your Instagram that you were there. And
Uh,
did Tennessee end up winning that game?
okay. We were up by like 26 at the half.
So
At the half.
I checked the score and you guys were up 21 points. I was like, oh, that's a blowout. That was easy. And then I looked and there was like, I don't know how much time was left, maybe like 6 minutes or something. And you're only up 2. And I started laughing. I was like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, you have this in the bag.
We won by 4.
Talk about a choke.
I about lost it.
You were up 26 at the half and you only won by 4.
Well, you know what? We had one of our best shooting halves in the entire season. We were shooting 86% from 3 in the first half.
Yeah, that's not sustainable. Wow, that's
And
impressive though.
well, like I've said all season, if we're hitting, like, if everybody is on at the same time, we're a very hard team to beat. But we're not always on for, like, we're pretty inconsistent on offense. So anyway, I want to get to Elden Ring, Kevin, because we would talk about sports the rest of the time.
Oh yeah, we can talk about this for hours, and we'll save this for the podcast that Matt and Joe are going to start, and they get into fantasy sports. We'll be some guest stars on that. But I'm going to first start here with Christian's question because he's got a question in chat, and he said, "But what class did Kevin start with in Elden Ring?" And I mentioned earlier I started with the Samurai. We mentioned this a little bit last week, but I've really been enjoying the gameplay of the Samurai. And he said my bet is classic sword and shield. And Christian, to you, I say I guarantee you've got a staff in your hand and you're going the coward's way out, and you are just whipping up spells here and there. I'm getting in on the action, and I'm enjoying the katana. And I just two-hand katana. I just keep that sword on my back, and I'm enjoying it all day, every day. So get your shit talking out of here. But Elden Ring is still so much fun, and we're seeing Elden Ring now get up there in some record-breaking conversations, which I'll pull up here. I found
I saw it
as I was looking through here. Elden Ring is now number 6 in the all-time concurrent players category on Steam. So in front of them is PUBG, Lost Ark, CSGO, Dota 2, and Cyberpunk. And Cyberpunk is very close to being toppled by Elden Ring. Elden Ring is approaching, at least as of yesterday, approaching 953 million concurrent players. And that is just knowing that that's only who's on at that point. Talk about what that means for game sales. The hype around this game was real, and they had to have sold millions and millions of copies, and that's on PC alone. That does not have anything to do with console sales, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, so I was reading one of those articles too, and they were talking about the
Love you, Christian.
The sustained success. What? Now I don't have the feed pulled up, of course.
Oh, you got to keep our chat up. He said he's playing classic Dark Souls 1 right now. He's Sword and Shield, baby. I rescind my shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's funny. He's like, no PC. He's got to do what he's got to do, But no, they were talking about just like the sustained success too, because that's concurrent. Concurrent just means that's right now. That's
yeah. Like playing in that moment.
Players are playing
all on at the same time.
Yes, and so like, because one of the articles was talking about how like they measure it by sales and I think like players or something like that, like for the opening weekend, but concurrent is what they track because that tells you is the success going to continue? Are people still playing the game? It's like Battlefield probably had a ton their first day or first weekend, and then they've got nobody now. Nobody's concurrent. So
yeah, you got to, and you have to think too. The Cyberpunk number is, so the Cyberpunk was at 1.05 million concurrent, which is number 5 on the list. Elden Ring's at 953,000. That Cyberpunk number realistically was probably within the first like 36, 72 hours of game launch, because the hype for the game was insane. I mean, I played it right after it launched.
Yeah.
I played maybe 4 or 5 hours and then I haven't touched it since. So I think because of all the bugs and everything there, like you mentioned, the sustainability, Elden Ring has shown that they can do that. And the player base just continues to grow because this game has really brought a lot of first time Souls gamers into the mix, myself included. When you get
Yeah,
your PC fixed.
it'll be the first thing I download.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, I'll say I've had no desire to play any other game other than Elden Ring. And that says a lot coming from me who like I have feel
I'm
like out of our group who games, I'm the one who's always like, oh, I'm just gonna go back and play COD because
yeah,
that's what I like. Like I'll even go back and play multiplayer if I'm bored, but like I've had no desire.
yeah. I'm going to play COD after this, and actually played last night and enjoyed it, but I don't have the ability to play Elden Ring right
Yeah.
now.
Once
So
you get that graphics card back though, you're gonna love it. And
I'm so scared. I'm so scarred. Like Witcher, it seems very similar with Elden Ring. I'm not adjusting any settings. I will play at, I don't know. I think it's capped at 60 FPS anyway. Did you
there
know that?
honestly I've not been paying any attention to the FPS. I set
I don't care. I just want to play it.
I think I started at I mean the game I think set me at I don't know if it has ultra settings. I think it just has high settings. I think that's the
I
max
don't.
on PC.
Yeah.
I brought them down to medium and I've just been playing that since. And I've had zero issues whatsoever on PC. I know there were some issues. The biggest complaint on PC is that the mouse and keyboard controls are not optimized for the game. But I think
Yeah.
a lot of people know that Souls games are controller optimized. And
Wait,
it's
are you
just,
playing mouse and keyboard or controller?
no, I'm playing on controller.
Okay.
Um, and like everybody who I talk to who has played Souls games in the past, and I asked, I was like, "Are you playing mouse and keyboard? Or are you playing controller?" And they're like, "No, you play Souls games on controller because that's just
Hmm.
what they're for." So I haven't even tried it on mouse and keyboard,
Down.
and
Down.
I'm playing on my Scuff. I love it. Um, I've had zero issues whatsoever. And I'll say I had one issue and I got disconnected from the server. But other than that, I've had no issues.
I did read they were talking about some of the bugs and stuff that Elden Ring has, and like there was one thing where like some people like disconnected and lost like hours of saved game, like where it didn't save, but that was from something with the cloud. And then there was another thing with the mouse and keyboard, and then
Yeah.
there was one other thing. But I think who is it? Is it From Software? Is that who it's made by? Is that
Yep.
what it's called?
Yeah. From Software is the developer.
It sounds really weird to me when you say it out loud. I've read it multiple times. Um, but they're aware of the issues and they sound like pretty responsive about knowing that it needs to be fixed. But like, what a difference between like Battlefield launch versus like this game. You know, it's two totally different genres, but at
Yeah.
the same time, like this is people. It's Christmas morning. It's that excitement is there, and that's all people are wanting to do right now. And I'm looking forward to it. And I cannot wait for that to like have that feeling again with a game.
Yep.
You know,
It's
uh,
that feeling is there and it is
soon.
strong. And I mean, a great example of this last week. Actually, no, it was Saturday, I think. Uh, I was playing Elden Ring and Matt Jordan jumped on with me, and he doesn't even have the game. He was watching TV and we were just hanging out.
Yeah.
We were talking, and I was just providing commentary on my Elden Ring gameplay. And he was like, "That is awesome," and he loved it. He's
Yeah.
like, "I'm enjoying this actually." And the thing was, I beat Godric as I was talking to Matt, and it took me 2 tries to beat Godric, which I just went off and did like all the side quests, and it should not have only taken me 2 tries. In the time that I did beat him, I thought was
Did you level up by doing a bunch of the side quests,
yeah, I
like
did.
gaining experiences?
I
Yeah.
so the first so Margit is the first like main story boss that you fight, and
Yeah.
I like normal gamer, like I trucked through, started to do the story boss, got my ass whooped by Margit, and I was like, okay. And I think that's what like people who are new to the Souls games, they don't realize how hard these bosses actually are, so that's what they do. And I think that first boss I mean, realistically, they probably make that first boss so hard because they want you to go back and experience the rest of the map, and you can't move on to the next section, which technically I think you can because there's a way around the castle, but nonetheless.
So you go through Margit.
You go back and you level up, and then you go back. So when I finally went back to Margit, I was way over leveled, and it was pretty easy. And then Godric, the first time was okay. I got him to like a quarter of the health. And then the second playthrough I thought was completely chalked. Like I was like, oh, there's no way. I was like, I should just reset and let him kill me. But I just kept up with it. And I just got in a groove of parrying at the right time. And I ended up beating him. And I was like, oh my God. And Matt was like, let's go. and after that, and Christian, yes, Godric's Dragon Hand. I was not expecting that. So spoiler alert, I will say to anybody who has not played against Godric yet, Matt, I'm going to tell you anyway, even though I know you haven't. As you get him his health halfway down, there's a dragon that's like on a tree. It's a dead dragon, and he cuts its head, and he sticks his arm into the dragon because you cut his arm off. He sticks his arm into the dragon, and then the dragon becomes his arm. And then he like moves the dragon around, and that's what like he's fighting against you. So it's like it's
That's
wild.
nutso.
The way that they come up with this shit is just awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking of this.
But
y'all are on acid. What are you doing?
a lot of mushrooms from the creative team at From Software.
Crazy.
But once I beat Godric, I went to there's a dungeon, and there's a dragon within the dungeon, and I was determined to kill this dragon. And it took me probably an hour and a half of just continuing to keep trying to kill him. And the first time I walked into the little room that he's in, he killed me immediately. I couldn't even get a swing off, like done. And it's trial and error. And you see what works, you figure it out, and just it's like once you beat that boss, it just the sense of accomplishment is just it's so different than like any other game that I've played recently, and I love it.
You have to work for it. You gotta have some patience. It sounds like
You 100% need patience because if I didn't know what
that Instagram video I sent you.
Yeah, yes. There's a great Instagram video of a guy down in his just gaming cave. His basement looks awesome.
All the lights off. He has a cool rig too,
and you can't even see him. You just see like a head on the ground, and somebody's like crying. and you can see Elden Ring on the TV. Yeah. It's a hard game, but you have to know what you're getting into. But once you just realize that you get patient with it, trial and error, it's going to take you multiple times to kill these bosses, and you'll get there. And just it's so much fun. I love it. I feel like I just get like giddy talking about it 2 weeks in a row now.
And that's cool.
And I'm excited for you to experience it.
And I get jealous, and here we are, talking about stuff I can't do.
We'll get there though.
Hey, Gigabyte, please
help out your boy. There's movement though, so movement from last week. So maybe next week we'll have some movement. And you'll have another update, and you'll actually be getting the card, and you can fix your computer and be merry and happy and all of that fun stuff.
I'm going back right now. Update it.
I don't think there's been an update, but
there's not.
We'll check back in next week. All right. Thank you for joining us. We are here weekly. It's our lovely discussions every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. If we change that up, it'll be on our Twitter. So follow us at the Joystick Pod for any updates there. And make sure that you subscribe below, and you will get the notifications when we go live. Like the video. We're going to come up with a poll that's going to be in the comment section or the description. Sorry. Make sure you vote in that. And that'll be live just a couple hours after this video is posted. And thank you for joining us again. We will talk to you guys next week. And until then,
okay.
Happy gaming.